What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And listen, I don't even feel like giving you guys this big voice with this crazy intro because the man I have sitting in front of me, I've seen do amazing things on TV. For one, who he interviewed, and for two, he was black and he got to interview these sets of people right here. This is a Toronto legend that put on so many artists and brought so many artists to the city and did so many things. You know who I have? We have Master T in the building tonight. What's going on, my brother?
Blessings.
You good, big boss?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Thank you so
We finally
very
linked.
much. You know what? When you want something, you got to work on it, especially if you believe in it. You got to work on it. And we definitely worked on it, made it happen. And you said yes, and here you are today. You know
glad
what I
to
mean?
be here, trust me.
Thank you. You know what I mean? So let's just get right to the beginning because I did a lot of research. Plus, I actually lived too. So we know from back then. I seen you on TV from back then. But there was certain stuff I didn't know. I said, I'm going to dig in a bit deeper and find out. So I know originally you were born in Leeds, England.
Right.
All right. So walk us through that path of being born in Leeds and then coming to Kitchener.
Well, I came here in 74.
Okay.
Prior to that, when I was still in England, I mean, my parents are divorced, and my father lived in the Bronx with my grandmother. So there's a couple times that we left from England and went to visit my dad. So that was my first real touch of going to,
North
going to New
America
York.
type of
yeah,
thing.
going to
Okay.
America that time. And it was a huge deal. Like coming from England to go to the UK was crazy. And, we'd come back, we'd have all the, because my dad was like a real fashion guy, pure style.
Right.
So we'd come back with pure style. I remember getting this, I still have it.
Yeah.
This kind of like this plush kind of long coat at the time. And I had these platform shoes and these velvet red pants. And I remember going to a school dance. It was hot as heck, and I had this long coat on. And these guys are like, "Look at Yogi, look at him, man! Look how fresh he looks, man!"
Yeah.
So I was, definitely busting out the style. But then, we were sponsored to come here, like a lot of West Indians apparently.
That was how a lot of them came.
That's how we came in. So
Yeah.
my aunt and uncle. Aunt Sis, Uncle Rupi, who rest in peace.
Okay.
We came to Canada. My mom, my brother Basil, and myself, and we lived in Kitchener.
Yeah.
And we were in Kitchener for obviously a number of years until I actually went till I ended up going to college.
Okay, so what was it like the adjusting period from Leeds to Kitchener?
Yeah, I hated Canada. I rebelled as much as I could rebel.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted me to stand up for the anthem, national anthem. And I was just like, no, I'm not standing up. I don't know who you think you guys are. And I was just, you're taken away from England.
Yeah.
Friendship meant a lot to me. The friends that I had in the UK,
Of course.
who are still my friends to this day. Mm-hmm. And I found coming to Canada, it was how many friends you had that weren't necessarily true friends, but we had, you had a number of people. So, and then I was kind of isolated, because I came from England. I didn't know the trends or styles. And I came over and, they bought me all the wrong things. Like, for me to fit in, I wanted a pair of, Mom, Uncle Rupi, I want a pair of Kodiaks. Yeah. And so, the Kodiaks were the big thing and a pair of Levi's.
Okay, the Kodiaks were the running shoes.
No, Kodiaks were the boots, the Kodiak boots.
Yes,
They're like Tim's.
Yes.
They're like Tim's, and I wanted a pair of fucking Kodiaks. Sorry, can you swear here? Sorry.
Of course, I want that. Listen, I want that. I
wanted a pair of Kodiaks. So my Uncle Rupi said, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry, man. I'm going to bring you a pair of boots. I'll bring you one boots for work.
Yeah.
So he brings me these. I was excited. He brings me these pair of boots, and they're these half steel toe boots, these half cut boots. I'm like, but those are Kodiaks.
No.
Sure enough, I wear them to school, and I get, chopped and razzed like crazy. And I wanted a pair of Levi's. I got a pair of Wranglers. I got all the wrong things to fit in.
Yeah. And was it working for you because you came to a strange country? You're not getting what you want. You really just want to go back home.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, hey, book my ticket back. You know what I mean? I want to go back, and but you fight through it because you have no choice.
Yeah.
And, I was always a good soccer player. So I played soccer throughout.
Okay.
Yeah. I played soccer I still play.
Mm-hmm.
I played soccer. So I played on the rep teams back in Kitchener. And so that kind of kept me going. Also, when I was in grade 8, I had a teacher by the name of Mr. Armstrong.
Okay.
And I was still rebelling. I was still vexed and whatever.
I hate this place here.
Oh, I hate this place.
Yeah.
And he actually was the one that said, he saw that I had as acting spark.
Okay.
And he had a play, and he had me play Washington.
Okay. Yeah.
So what was the show called? Washington. What was it?
Carter. Is it Call Me Carter?
No, what was it called? My brain.
Yeah.
My brain just went blank. But anyway, so I played Washington in this play, and and I also did this other thing from this guy who was running for class for school president.
Yeah.
And I did this thing where I said he wanted me to be his like wingman or whatever, and I went up there and I said, JJ, he's all right, but for president, he's gonna be dynamite. And I was just like. What? That's it. I'm in.
Yeah.
All the people like me, and they like me, and I think I just kind of thrived off that level of attention.
Okay, so you learned that, okay, you know what, I have a skill.
Yeah.
And this is actually getting me over the hump of coming from a strange place, coming somewhere else. And I'm now connecting with the people through this skill here.
Yeah, and I could see it. I mean, I always had a comedic sense.
Yeah.
I'd always, through hard times that my mom went through, I'd always, make her laugh.
Yeah.
And like I used to do, I'd do this Groucho Marx for her, and she just bust laugh, and so. Through the challenging times as a kid, you all know it. You can see, you can feel the pain, and you never want your mother to feel that level of pain
at all.
So it took whatever I could to make her feel okay.
That's true. So even at that point there, when you started to fit in, did you still have your accent at that point there?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I came here with the strongest British accent, and my brother. To this day, he'll still twang out the UK accent. Come on, Basil, it's done. It's over. We've been here. We've been here 80 years.
Yeah.
Come on, you gotta. But when I came here, hit grade 7.
Yeah.
Queensmount Public School, and English teacher. Tony, can you read this for us? And I'm like, oh. Gosh.
Oh, man.
So everything I had to read everything.
Yeah.
Every class I went to, they wanted me to read something. So for me, it was about first thing I got to shake this damn British accent.
Yeah.
So I think in about 6 months, I got rid of that thing.
And that's so weird because especially, how old were you when you actually
13.
came? You were 13. I know people that came here when they're 8 and they're now 85 and they still have the thickest accent ever.
And a lot has to do with your home environment. If everyone else has kind of like a British accent, you can still kind of maintain it.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just and I was stupid too, because that was the gal thing. You know what I mean? I'm dumb. I'm so stupid. 13. If I was smarter, I could have been busting. Hey, how are you? You all right? Hey, Tony. No, it's Anthony. Anthony Young. That'd have been pure girls, but no, dumbass.
But you didn't like the place, so you weren't even thinking about that.
I wasn't thinking. I wanted to fit right in, get my lumberjack, my plaid lumberjack, my Levi's, and my Kodiaks.
That's crazy. And what type of music were you actually exposed to or listening to at that time when you first came here?
I pay homage to my dad. Coming from a true West Indian family, my dad had a record collection that was and that's the thing I give praises to, because a lot of West Indian men get this, get a hard time, what I mean? And part of it is just the way they grew up. And I'm not going to sit here and defend them, but they like to go lavish, they do the dominoes, they like to lie, they like to do whatever they want to do and whatever. And for some of them, it just wasn't about raising kids. And my mom actually, would compliment my brother and I for wow, you're changing diapers and you're picking up the baby and you're taking the baby here and and I'm like, it was just natural for us. But that generation, these guys were just out. They just pure. My dad was just street. He just
that's how it was at that time.
That's how it was, But his record collection was just first and foremost, he used to put us to bed or, like with jazz music.
Okay.
Like he would, so it would soothe us. It would relax us. So he'd always play jazz. Reggae was big big. I didn't realize till later that, oh my gosh, I was listening to one of my favorite artists, Burning Spear.
Okay.
From like when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and then there was the social parties of going to like, the basement parties and, you're holding, I used to love going to the basement parties and just couldn't wait for like, okay, they're going to drop it now. They're going to drop. Yes. The kitchen's open with the little flimsy plate with
curry goat
and white rice. I would just like,
and a piece of tomato or something on the side.
Exactly. I tossed a tomato, but yes, I definitely would dive into the curry goat. But my dad, even to him, my brother and we used to visit him in New York. It was just hours spent of just like listening to music. And my brother, again, a musicologist himself, he would be right in there and just, we'd come back and be bringing, records at the time, LPs
Definitely.
home.
Yeah.
So I was real grateful that I could appreciate not just one type of music.
Yeah. So it was more jazz, reggae, and stuff like along those lines.
Yeah, jazz, reggae. I mean, that's a lot of it. A lot of what he was into at that time.
Yeah,
for sure.
That makes sense because that was the thing at that time. It's either you're listening to jazz, you're listening to reggae, some calypso,
right,
and that type of stuff, especially coming from a black household.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Gospel too. So it's a mix of things.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? So then now you said at that point there, you started to get into, you got the acting bug.
Yeah, I think it was, I think when I hit high school, which is at KCI in Kitchener, it was on a semester system, and you could kind of choose exactly, you could put all your courses together. Like, when I was grade 9, I wanted to be an electrician.
Okay.
So I was like sciences, maths, I was doing all that kind of stuff. Grade 10, I wanted to be a dancer, thespian actor. So I was taking ballet, I was doing this. And the whole time I was still playing soccer.
Yeah.
Grade 11, I call this my domino 101 because I dropped 6. I licked 6. I went to, people have heard this story, if I've either read the book or I've mentioned it before, but I took 7 credits and I passed 2.
Wow.
So I lost 5 credits that year. And so and literally lunch, I played dominoes. We'd go to the park after school, we'd cut school to go play dominoes. Yeah. Man, I was a great domino player.
You must be.
Well, I was good. Trust me, I was good. What's that behind that 2-line music hut there? Let me see your hand. I don't need to see your hand. I can read your hand.
I know what's in your hand.
I know what's in there.
Uh-huh. You see this card right here?
Oh, yeah.
Watch. Yeah. I know what I'm going to put this here. Until you play, and after I flip it and smash it down.
And it's style too. Yeah. It's style with dominoes. It's pure style.
Of course.
And then I used to love the guys that their hands are like this big. Yeah. When the poor domino was just sitting right here, and they say,
you have to, if you don't break the table.
The whole dominoes pop up. It was a dramatic thing. Yeah. It's a big thing. So I did dominoes. But the smart thing I did was in those grade 9 and grade 10 classes, I took additional credits.
Okay.
So I only had to go to summer school for like taking English.
Okay.
And then, by the 2 classes I did pass, they were media classes.
Media.
So that kind of hit, that was the kind of bug. And then it was like, okay, all right. And and throughout then I was doing a little bit of acting, but then it's crazy because in high school, we've got this part. You don't even have to audition.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, great.
Because I guess you don't want to have to go through all of the hard work of auditioning.
Yeah, I don't. So and then when they came to me and they said, well, we want you to, play this part, and and you just have to say yes, master.
Yeah.
I said, so I'm like. And that's what they've given me the part already. Yeah. I don't even have to try out. Yeah. And I said, I just have to say what? They said, no, you just have to say yes, master, and some other lines that where I was obviously I was either a servant or whatever. And I noticed every musical that they had was just was. Every black person that played there was some level of of a subservient role.
Got you.
And this is where I start to get my level of political edge because I'm like, sorry, I ain't playing that shit.
Okay, so you knew right off the top that you didn't want to. Yeah.
I said, well, I still got to come to the school. I have brethren, black. So you want me to kind of like, first and foremost, you're going to put me in a stereotypical role. And they were pissed. And they were so upset and they couldn't understand where I was coming from.
What do you mean? Of course you should understand where I'm coming from.
And I said, I paid my dollars and cents just to go see that, to see some guy in a white face. They painted the guy in black. Paint his black face.
Yeah, because they couldn't get a black.
Yeah, there's no black people in the school that were going to do it. And I'm going to go do this and go hang out by the radiator with all my brethren and, sisters and like, hey, yes, Marcy. That wasn't happening. I did kill myself, Master T, but that's a different thing.
All right, we're getting there. You see, the funny thing with it is that you were conscious enough to know that that's not something you want to do.
No, it wasn't. And, I had English teachers come to me. I had, some of the teachers that I respected come to me. And it was a big deal. I had to explain this. Like, what is there to explain? Yeah. And, but I didn't, that was my first bit of like, no, this ain't happening.
Yeah. And this was in high school.
I was in high school.
Okay. And then when you forwarded now, so let's go into college. When you went into college, what were you taking in college?
TV broadcasting.
Broadcasting.
At Mohawk College.
Okay. And what made you actually decide, let me take this, or you just open up the book and say,
no,
I'll take that.
The two media classes, that's when, when something kicks and you're passionate about it, you put in your time. So my last year, I was volunteering at Grand River Cable, which is, now it's turned into Rogers Cable.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So I was covering, city, the city meetings. I was covering, events, throughout the city. And, it was, sometimes it was very tedious. It was very boring, but it was hands-on. Yeah. They let you, put your hands on a camera. They let you focus. They let you do what you're doing.
And you were on air at that time?
No, I wasn't on air though.
Oh, okay.
No, I wasn't on air. I was just operations.
Got you.
So I was just learning the craft, and that enabled me to apply for the television broadcasting courses I applied for. And I never wanted to do radio because a lot of times back then it was split. It was like radio TV.
Okay.
Two programs, and I was never really interested in radio.
Radio was not your thing.
It wasn't my thing. I'm just too good looking. Yeah. Come on, let's face it. You need to see his face on TV. Come on.
That was where you were. You figured, hey, you know what? Especially, I guess, coming from you want to do acting, so you don't really want to not be seen. You want to be seen.
Exactly. And the thing was about TV broadcasting, the program that I took it was all operations as well. Yeah. There was no real, there was some on-camera stuff, but it was just more about learning how to do, how an audio, how to edit. And it was a three-year course.
Okay.
But it was good. I mean, I was happy. And then I also came from that West Indian background, right? Where, you'd have, West Indian parents, they see you downtown and say, so what you studying? In fact, I had a girlfriend at that time. And no, I just left. We just kind of split or whatever. Yeah. And the father was like, saying to me, Tony, what are you going to study? And I said, I'm going to take television broadcasting. And he's like, you sure you don't want to do tool and die? Yeah. I said, tool and die? What the frick is that?
What is that?
He's like, he goes, tool and die, you can get a lot, can get paid a lot of money to do tool and die, I'm like, no, man, that's not for me. And then I came back, to Kitchener, and I was doing some stuff then at Black World, which is like MTV, Channel 47.
Okay.
And I was doing some stuff on air, and it was just.
So that was your first time you now got on air. That was my first time I got on air was for Black World. Okay.
And because there weren't many outlets, it was Daniel Corderon. You became a bit of a novelty star, you know what I mean? Like the community would see you and like, oh yes, that's, and that's Tony or whatever. But,
and you liked that admiration, that feeling that it came with.
Well, yeah, it was, I'm not just a media hound or hog. I think what it was just, I liked the interactivity of it. I liked the fact that, hey, I did this on TV, and then someone's going to come up to me and ask me about this person, or relate or connect, and it was another, communicative.
It's the long tail of what you were doing. Yeah. You put it out there, and then you just go about your normal business, and people would ask you more stuff, so it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah. And I was always very comfortable with that. I was always, always just relaxed with talking to people and just sharing. So that was definitely, the entry level for me.
That makes a lot of sense. So how long were you actually over at your Black World?
Black World? I was there because, well, interestingly enough, because I studied operations. My first job was at Channel 47, which was which is now Omni.
Okay.
Right. So back in the day, it was Channel 47.
Yeah.
See, I'm dropping dimes.
All right.
So, and
this
all the black
was
people
out of Toronto, or where was it?
Toronto. It's still there, but now it's Rogers. It's right at Lakeshore.
Yes.
Lakeshore and Bathurst and Lakeshore.
Yes, the streetcar passes right there.
Right. That used to be Channel 47.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so there was all the different South Asian programming. There was Asian programming, and there was just one black show that was run by Daniel Corderon, and he was a mentor to me, but he was tough. Like I had to hustle to try and get a gig.
Yeah.
At one point, I just I would send him messages and I say I want to work on the show because I was still a videotape operator at the time.
Okay.
So that was my job at the station. But then he said, he goes, well, what do you want? I said, look, man, you know how long I've been trying to get in touch with you?
Yeah.
This is it's starting to piss me off.
Yeah.
And then he just went, oh, okay, all right. So he gave me gave me a gig to go interview up and coming, black people, black artists, black, actors, sports figures. And so I was interviewing, some of the young and up and coming people at the time.
Do you remember anybody that you interviewed back then that actually became somebody big at that point?
Well, there was for National Ballet was Kevin Pugh.
Yeah.
He was a dancer for National Ballet. There was a runner. I forget his name, but there was definitely a few people that that did well. I mean, well back then was and it's a lot different than it is now.
100% agreed. Yeah.
But they ended up doing whatever their craft was.
Yeah.
And I think that was key.
Yeah, and that was your first taste into actually now on air.
On air, but also on a communal sense.
Yeah.
In a community. Like, you go somewhere and, like the community, if I went to a black event, people would, see me.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest love is going to Eglinton. If
Yeah.
you go to Eglinton,
Yes.
That's the thing. If you can walk on Eglinton and you don't have to look back because you're looking someone's going to cuss you, I'm on black world, right? Black world. That to me is, that's all it's about.
Okay, and how long were you over there for?
I did that for I think it's probably about a couple of years.
Couple years.
But I worked at the station for 2 years. And then my brother was working at City TV at the time. And then he was the one that hit me up and said, hey, Much Music is kicking out in 84. And he said, you should come over. And I'm like, look, man, I love you. You're my brother. I don't want to be that close to you, working in the same environment. I want to prove my own self. And, but I took the job.
I need the money.
I need the money. It was a step up. Much Music, brand new thing.
So you got in ground level in Much Music?
I was right there, 84.
84 when they cut the ribbons. Okay, now we're open.
Yeah, we're open. We're here. Like, we're open.
Let's all figure it out.
Yep. And I was videotape operator. All the VJs, JD Roberts, Erykah M, Michael Williams, Christopher Ward, the original VJs. And I sat back there being a cameraman, videotape operator for a number of years, watching these guys, watching what they did, watching how they moved.
And that's where you actually learned your craft from. Actually watching what everybody was doing. Exactly. And then I guess when you decided to make the leap forward, you incorporate your own personality in what they were doing already, type of thing.
Exactly. And I think the other big thing was my wife.
Yeah.
She was, she basically, had visions and she could see things way beyond that I could see anything. Okay. So, as much as I wanted, and plus I was acting too. I was doing some, I had little bit parts and, I was in The Believers. Okay. I was in Police Academy.
I heard about it. You were a stunt double for Harlow?
Michael Winslow.
Yeah, yes,
I did all the voices and stuff, and I was a stunt double for him. At Police Academy 3. Yeah, and that was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah. I got good money for it back then too.
And where was that actually filmed?
It was all shot in Toronto, but it was right on Lake O.
Yeah,
and during the actual jet ski thing, I kept on dropping in the water, and let me tell you, I swear, my shit was never the same for about a year. I kept swallowing this water. I think my breath was toxic because there was you kept on dropping your
in Lake Ontario.
Now it's like, oh, you can't swim this week.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm drinking this stuff by the gallon, falling off this bike. So but I did that, so that was cool. But at the time, my wife was always really supportive and just understanding, because there's a lot of frustration because I was still trying to act. At one point, she said, look, what's going to happen to you is it's going to happen to you on Much Music.
Yeah.
She said, it's going to happen to you on Much Music. And I was a videotape operator. Yeah. And she said, it's going to be 5 years. Yeah. That, I'm like, okay, look, I love you and all, but, like 5 years is a long time.
Oh, that's an eternity.
Yeah. 5 years is a big thing. To the day, like 5 years, I was like hosting my own show.
Crazy.
And it was like,
So then when you went into, I guess, when did they say, okay, you're going to change from a camera operator to on-air personality? What was that conversation like between, who did you have to talk to actually change positions at that time?
I'm going to backpedal a little bit because Christopher Ward used to have a show called City Limits, and he used to do all these little kind of vignettes and little acting things, and so I used to get involved with that on Much Music, and so that was like my real kind of taste. And then also I can't forget is another great guy was Gordon McWaters. And we used to kind of work together to creating these IDs at the time. Okay, so I had these characters, a spy character.
I remember that. Me personally, that's the first place I remember you from.
Right.
It seemed like you had like a little briefcase.
A little briefcase.
Yes.
Running around the city.
Uh-huh.
Stupid as all heck, but it was.
That's where I remember.
But it was a character, So I did that, and we did these IDs and promos and things, and then I did this video, this Much Music video, and I had this man talk about stereotyping black people. Okay, I wouldn't say master, but I put a get a blaster on my shoulder, and I walked.
That is around. One step down.
One step down. You know what I mean? Black people probably looking like, what's that damn fool that he gets a blast?
And I think that when you had on like those, at that time, their bicycle hats were big. And I think you had it flipped up.
Yep. I had it flipped up.
You didn't have your locks at that time.
You just kind of getting into the locks thing. And then, it ended up being that we did that little short Much Music promo clip. And then, we said we're going to do an actual full on song. And that's when we did the Much Music Groove. And that's where my wife Paula, she ended up writing it with me, and we did, and it covered everything. And then we took us 6 months to actually create and do the video with my friend Gordon McWaters.
At that time,
At that time, because we were still working. I was working as a cameraman at this point. But the conversation.
Who was it that you actually spoke to when the conversation said, "Hey, Tony, listen, we want you to be an on-air personality"? Who was it that you actually spoke to?
Well, what it was that there was an actual slot that was going to come up, and I'd heard it rumble that there was going to be a slot for 3 hours that was going to be on Much Music, and they were kind of thinking about the Electric Circus thing.
So this was pre-Electric Circus.
Pre-Electric Circus, So it was like, because that was around, I went on the air in 1990. So Electric Circus was already, I think Electric Circus was dead. Electric Circus was already on. So they had already established what they were doing. And for me, it was a matter of like, there's no way I want to do the same thing. So I said, this is my opportunity. And I told my wife, and I said, I've got this idea, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I see I got a clothesline behind me, and I've got this keyboard, and you're going to be the voice of the keyboard. And she's like, we're going to call you Roxy. And she's like, okay, whatever. Like, what do I have to do? So I ended up getting a keyboard sampler. And back then it was so archaic that I had to record every sample individually.
Yeah, in our spotlight today, we got Roxy. Salt and Pepper. That's right, Salt and Pepper is here because they are in our spotlight in the premier female hip-hop band, you know what I'm saying, coming your way in the spotlight in a big way.
So, You see, you brought up Roxy. You know,
Well,
listen.
trust me. Roxy used to get mail, like, you know, how's Roxy doing? Like,
Yeah.
like, what about me?
So, so Roxy wasn't live. It was all samples.
She was samples. She was sampled, but it was in the keyboard.
Yeah.
But, you know, so it'd be like, you know, because it'd be like, I'd be sitting there, coming to the show and say, hey, what's going on? How's everybody doing? How you feeling, Roxy? I'm great, T. Who's on the show today, T?
Right.
Oh, man, we got a whole bunch of guests. We got, you know, Cardi, and we also got Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
And, you know, so
Yeah.
it was in my head.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I didn't want to co-host.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know where it came from.
That's
I don't know where it came from.
monumental.
Yeah, you know, you know, in my when I think about it now, and it's funny because King Lou from Dream Warriors,
Dream Warriors, yep.
he said, you know, he had said something. It was almost like he I don't know if he DM'd me, but he said Roxy was the precursor to
Siri,
Siri.
Alexa.
And it was kind of, I was like, you know what?
You're 100%.
yeah.
You're 100% right.
And the thing was, and you know, my wife had this voice about
Yeah.
it too, because she'd do it, and you know, and sometimes, man, we'd be doing that, we'd be recording that till like 3 a.m, like because it would take so
Yeah.
long, and then I'd have to write them out. I'd have to write out. It was usually about 13 different clips.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to, and then I'd number them on there, and yeah.
That's so crazy. So, what was actually? Do you remember your first show? Your very first show?
One of the early shows was with Snow. I think Snow, because I interviewed him not too long ago.
Yeah.
You were one of my first guests ever on Extended Mix So Much Music.
You were my first interview. This is how we go back. Me and
That's
you
right.
go back to the beginning.
And he was one of my first guests.
Yeah.
And I remember doing the show, and the very first show we probably didn't have any guests, but he was definitely the first guest. But
Yeah.
and it was 3 hours of content, but it wasn't just 3 hours of content. I also produced. Well, they would let me have a producer's title at that time.
Yeah.
But I also was the producer, so we did the programming of the show for 3 hours. So that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably, you know, not probably, that was so significant because it gave me the ability to program, obviously, the music.
sure.
In terms of, like, at that time it was world music. I played hip hop. I played reggae.
Yeah.
My motto was, if it made you move in a club, I'm going to play.
Got you. So it was it more on a black focus, or as you said, if it makes you move in a club, you will play it?
Yeah, like, the Clash, the Casbah,
Yeah.
played it. You know, at that time it would have been alternative
Yeah.
or whatever. So, if it was in a couple, and back then there were, it wasn't so much, there were house music, there was hip hop clubs, obviously. There was, wasn't so much, there was reggae, the Bamboo Club.
Yeah.
So there were like, different clubs. And then, there was like alternative, I guess, like a club called Nuts and Bolts,
Yeah.
where they play like, they play ska and they play all this
Okay.
stuff. But my wife and I, we would just go to all of these clubs.
Yeah.
We would go to all these spots and just take in all kinds of music. And the biggest other learning curve was that we'd have, labels come in and they bring in the artists, and we'd have, publicists come in and bring in artists to much music. And they say, hey, anybody want to go see the show? And the amount of concerts
Yeah.
I saw,
Yeah.
that we saw was
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
It was crazy at
Yeah, it
that
was
time,
crazy.
and it was all genres at that time.
All genres. Like for me, I just, I never, if it was house music, I'd go check out house music. If it was hip hop, go check out. If it was English beat, go check out the English beat at the concert hall. Or, so
And what was the original name of your show when you first started out?
when I first started, it was called Extended Mix.
Okay, so the original one was Extended Mix.
Extended Mix, yeah.
Okay.
And then around the 90 something, we changed it. Again, my wife just said, "Look, the genre is changing around the 90s. You're gonna deal with more R&B and more. So, and you're gonna call it the Mix."
Unbelievable sounds. Right on.
I was like, and she was like, the challenge was because Electric Circus was on there as well.
Yeah.
And Electric Circus, we were almost competing and dealing with the same artists.
Yeah.
So once I branched out, it was like, look, Electric Circus ain't playing R&B. They're not playing this. They're not supporting the music.
Yeah.
Because they're playing strictly dance. Because I played everything, dance music as well on Extended Mix. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then that was it. So then you lasted, I guess, about 4 or 5 years extended mix?
Yeah, it's about 4 years.
Yeah.
Because we went on 90, and I think it changed around 93, 94.
What were some of the artists, DJs, or people that came on extended mix before actually the mix?
Well, back then it was crazy because, I had a ball at Buju Bantan was on there. Buju was there. Who else? The big thing was just when reggae was just coming, just coming, not just coming up, but coming mainstreamish, right? So I had a lot of reggae. Who else was on there? There was a lot. It was also supporting what was here in Canada, at that time I called it Canadian product.
For sure.
So it was supporting, everything that came out of here, that came out of Canada. So you had Mishi on there, Maestro been on there, but a lot of the, Supercat was on the show. I mean, there was a lot of reggae content.
And I guess especially supporting the Canadian product at that time, you were one of the few outlets that they could actually get on national TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a big thing. We were national. And that was a huge thing for these guys. So, and then, because the thing was, artists would want to come on and they go, oh man, I got a great record. Okay. Do you have a video?
Yeah.
And, no, I don't have a video. Well, sorry. We're a video network.
Show, yeah.
But they realized, and I used to tell them, I said, look, if you have product, like if you put out a single, make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you have it in the stores.
Yeah.
Because, and a lot of them, would put the video out, travel and go, man, people asked us for the record. Yes. Yeah. The idea was to,
you have to put both
together.
Yeah.
And, so there's definitely a little bit of a, tutorial educational support for some of the artists for sure.
And did you realize at that time what the significance of what you were actually doing by putting them on at that time?
No, it didn't. It didn't really lock in. For me, it was because I learned very early on because there were three camps. There was Ivan Berry, who had Beat Factory. Yeah. There was Farley Flex, who had Maestro. And there was another guy, Anthony Bond, who had this artist who was big at the time, Be Cool.
Okay, yes, I remember Be Cool.
So, and the camps, they were like, not even then, but they would say like, why are you playing that guy's video? And I'm like, well, I'm playing this guy's video because, the story, what it meant to me was that I wasn't going to just support one man. I wasn't going to just say, hey, you know what? I'm just here. I'm going to play. Every time you put out something,
I'm just supporting.
I'm going to support you.
Yeah.
I left it open because, that way it was important for me to just put it out to everybody.
Yeah.
To give everyone a chance. Sometimes it was hard because especially, coming up, there was a lot more duties, than just being a host. Because I forgot to mention, I was doing extended mix and a cameraman for about a year and a half.
You were doing
I was doing both.
Okay.
And it got to the point where I was getting heart palpitations.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, which one do you guys want?
Yeah.
I mean, and at that time, because the show, when Extended Mix went on the air, there was a sponsor that was right off 2 weeks in. It was sponsored by Mars Bar.
Okay, right away.
Right away.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was important because I realized, talking to different people in the building, because one thing I learned was like, if I work on the first floor, never just work on the first floor.
Yeah.
What's up on the second, third, fourth?
What's going on?
And so somebody on the third floor told me, you know what, your show is doing quite well. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So that gave me some level of, it empowered me to some level. So, it was important.
Yeah, that's definitely. And then you went from extend the mix to the mix.
Right.
All right. And was it still 3 hours at that time also?
And then the other thing was the hours got cut too.
Yeah.
And I got moved. Just the time slot changed to, I think, Saturday.
Yeah, what's going on out there right across the nation? Master T coming your way right here on a Saturday afternoon or morning, wherever you are.
Saturdays?
Saturdays.
And what was the time schedule?
I think it was like 1:30 or something.
Yeah.
But when it was extended mix, it was literally on 3 times. Like it would be like from 5 to 8. They come on again from 9 to 12, and they come back in the morning at like, I don't know if it was midnight to 3 or 3 to 6 something, but you know, it was a lead-in. If you go into a club from 9 to midnight, boom, you lock it out.
That was basically, you know, when you, as you said, you're going in a club, when you're going down, you're playing the radio, but before you actually leave your house, you were the pre-club.
Pre. Yeah.
That's so crazy. And again, you were just happy to be there without really understanding what you were carving out at that time there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there was always a level, I didn't know the level of significance, but I was well aware of, you know, the fact that, you know, once you start realizing that there's money behind your show, I started realizing my level of, relevance.
Yeah.
And then when the Dance Mix series was associated, connected with the show, then it was almost like, okay, hold on a second.
What's going on here?
You know, I mean, you know, I was being presented with, you know, gold records at the time and, you know, triple this. And, you know, I have a diamond presentation for Dance Mix.
Yeah.
I think it was 94, I think it was 93.
So were you were actually producing them at that time, or you were the face of them at that time?
I was the Michael Jordan of Haynes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was that's what I thought of myself. Yeah. But then, you know, and it was a fight because to me, I'm realizing, you know, I was saying to myself, hey, look, you know, I'm not trying to be a money grubber here, but you're using my show. You're using my show as a platform. You're using me to host it. Yeah. You know, and to be, you know, doing all the commercials. You know, I'm the face of it. You know, and a friend of mine told me, who worked for my friend Aaron, who worked for VP Records, still there, Aaron Talbert. He said, get your face in the CD, in the cover, in the slip. Yeah. I was like, well, okay, sure. So then people would even have more of an association that it was like, well, Master T's associated with this, but I didn't program, the actual music. And then the other thing was key for us as well was to actually have a place to put a record. You know, the idea was we wanted to put a song on there as well. We ended up getting the Much Music Groove on there. But yeah, it was an idea that we wanted to get music on there as well. Yeah. But it worked out.
Before we get into the mix, something I forgot to ask you: how do you even get your name, Master T?
Yeah, I wish it was some crazy, exotic story, but they were the graphics department. At one point when I was doing the first rap video, I'm like, why don't I call myself Much Master T? Yeah. And I looked at the graphics, and then it was like another graphics guy was like, it's too long. Yeah. And I was like, okay, then cut off the much. Yeah. And then he was like, Master T. Yeah, just like that. Nothing really exciting about it. But then he was like, Master T. And then, it's funny because, when I did go on the air first, there were black people that were just like, yo, man, like, I don't get this guy. Yeah. He's not the conventional brother. No, not at that time. Not at that time. I was like in the 90s. And then I was doing characters. Yeah. I was doing a Scottish guy. I was doing, Taurus T, the Love God. I was doing all these things. So people thought it was, I remember going up to Eglinton and, I said, yo, now you me seeing that the other day and I want a skirt. I said, no, that's a kilt. No, man, a skirt. But I like it. Stop doing that. I'm like, yeah. And I said, well, it's a Scottish character. Yeah. Said, no, I mean, I like the character. Yeah. No, I like it. I said, And then, and I was doing the Scottish character and I would be like, called T. McGee. And they're all my cousins. And so like T. McGee would be just like, okay, I'm here at 2 Line, the music hut. Okay, let me tell you what was going on here. We're just chatting and talking about myself. Yeah. And then Taurus T was more like the Love God. Yeah. He was like a knockoff of Barry White. Got you. And he was just like, yeah, all right. I just wanted to talk to the ladies right now about gonna play some slow jams right here on Extended Mix. All right.
We'll be right back.
Yeah. And I put on the shirt and everything. And the beauty was one of my treasures was actually interviewing Barry White and actually doing the character in front of Barry White. Yeah. I got cussed for it though. Yeah. Well, because Barry White, I got the interview. I interview him, and I'm like, hey, this is, trust, it's an honor. My brother was there, his cameraman, and Dave Campbell was there because, he was the man. He was like, we talk about getting to third base. I mean, whatever, first base, second base. Barry White, you put on, and he's just like, all right. Like he was the man, right? So, but then, so I do the interview with him. It's a great interview. Happy with myself. I said, hey, Barry, I do this character called Taurus T. And he goes, oh, that sounds interesting. And I said, and he's like a disciple of love. He comes from you. And he's like, oh, okay, all right, And he's like, and I said, I just wonder if you can do it with me. He goes, and the whole time he goes, well, you should send me a script over first, so I could read it over.
I'm a professional.
I'm a professional, right? And I truly respect him in his, linen, everything, linen pants, the man with linen.
Come on,
he must have drank a bottle of cologne, that smelled good, hair shiny, the man looked incredible. He was just incredible.
Very white.
Very white.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and then the thing was, all I used to do is I put a shirt on, this shiny shirt on a hat. And I'm like, yes, Barry, I fully understand where you're coming from. I'm so disrespectful of me. I'm putting the shirt on. I'm putting the shirt on.
You're getting into character.
Into the character. I'm putting the shirt on, and I was just like, I'm like, and he's like, yes, you should have faxed my agent on this. I was like, yeah, Barry, I just want to talk to you. Taurus T, the love god, meets my man, Barry White. And he's like, he just lost his mind. And we did this a minute and a half thing with him, and it was just improv, nothing. It was just incredible. That was one highlight for me. It was a beautiful.
Very
moment.
white.
Very
Wow.
White. Very white.
Let's get into the mix. So then why did you change? So you said, okay, because when you got into the mix now, it was more urban, more hip hop, R&B, reggae.
Yeah.
All right. So then now, give me some of your highlights of the mix.
The mix was, we're establishing ourselves more, obviously, on the urban front. And at the time, labels, it was nothing for the labels at that time to say, hey, we have, this artist coming in to town to do a promotional event. And that was the big thing. They do promotional events at a club, and the label would come and, bring them.
Come to you guys as the TV station. Got
you. So we would have, Casey and JoJo stop by, Montel Jordan, Mary J. Blige, Lil Bow Wow. Hold on a second. One second.
All right, I want to see this.
Let me just bring up the book. Right?
Yeah. Wow.
So I walk with this everywhere I go, just because it just, and I see I've got highlighter on it.
Good.
Yeah, but but this, we had so many different different people stop by, obviously, which was incredible. And I felt blessed because and also supporting the Canadian acts as well. But there was so many, and then from that we created different because Much Music was doing intimate interactives.
Okay.
I started to do indie rounds.
And what was that there?
Indie rounds was it was like a live performance. Where the act would come in, they'd come in and perform, and we'd have a live interactive crowd.
Okay.
But it was on an urban basis.
And who were some of the people that came in and got
The very first one was Erykah Badu. We had Erykah Badu. We did one with Jill Scott. We did one with Montel Jordan. We did one with who else we did? Lil Bow Wow, as I mentioned, we did one with him, and we did the big reggae one was with Bounty. It was Bounty Killer, Beanie Man.
Yeah.
I think it was Tony Curtis, and that was a big one. I think Specs actually put a post up of that, and that's when we actually got Specs to come and do the DJing.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Dave. I said, well, who makes sense?
Yeah.
He goes, let's get Specs. And Specs came in there, and Specs killed it. And it was like, let me tell you, even watching it now.
Yeah.
And I was like watching, I was just like, wow, it was so electric. And not only that, then you was like, Bounty and Beanie feuding, of course.
And you had both of them on
Both
the show.
of them. Because I remember when Bounty came in, he goes, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him.
For real?
I don't want to see the Beanie Man. I don't want to see him. Put him on. Is he here? Where is he? I don't want to see him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, look, you won't see him. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So we have to put him on like the third floor.
Yeah.
And then, Beanie comes in. Yeah. Look, I don't want to see the Bounty Killer. All right. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see the Bounty Killer. I don't want to see, I just want to do my thing. I just want to do.
Zagazelle.
Yeah. So, Bounty's coming down the performance. Said, Bounty, come on, yeah, we're ready to go. We got to come down the steps and then, make sure comes down the steps and comes in, does his performance. And I said, all right, Bounty, great pleasure, thank you.
Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah.
And then Beanie came and did his thing, but it was
Crazy.
And it opens so many other doors too for, for like the promoters actually finally got it. Was the fact that, because back then, the promoters are like, I'm just going to go do, no disrespect to the college radio, we're just going to do some college promo, then we're going to stop by you. I said, no, do the TV. People can see the fact that these guys have crossed the border, they're here, they're live, and that's what people did. Some people wouldn't even, people said, look, if I'm not going to end up on pandemics, may not go out of short, let me see them.
It's so crazy to even think that it was so instrumental, because that when I did some research, and then I really looked at it from another lens, I said, hold on, this is a lot of show these guys are here for. So it's not like they flew in to do the mix or extend the mix.
Right.
They're actually here for a show. So then clearly this is local promoters meeting up with you guys to go onto TV.
Right.
This is something special.
Exactly. And the promoters would link me up.
Yeah.
They would call me, and that's how it happened, right? Like, they realized, after a while they understood, because I remember, I gotta remember this guy's name. This is bugging me, but he had a store. He had a store around Dufferin and Oakwood area. It was a clothing store.
Okay.
Oh, what's his name? But he's a legend, man, and I feel bad for him. And he's in here somewhere. But he was one of the first people to buy television airtime.
Okay.
And he bought commercial, paid for commercial time, and he sold out of all the stuff. Because from that day, he really,
the power of television,
the power of TV.
Super random question: how much were commercials back then?
Wow, they were very expensive. They were, because we were national. First and foremost, they really only allowed you to have like a chain, like a chain location. Yeah. So you have to have more than one store, obviously.
Got you.
For it to be effective. But people realize in Toronto, it's like we don't really care. Like for them, Toronto's a mecca. Like in their minds, and we want that person to come to my store. But back then, you for a spot, you could have been paying for a 30-second spot. This is without production. Yeah. Just for airtime, probably like $1,500 to $2,000.
Back then. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And people think, that's nothing. But, back then that was definitely.
When you're talking about, that's a lot of money.
And when you're talking about sponsorships for, don't get into like full on sponsorships. Yeah. Full on sponsorships for a full hour was very expensive.
Wow. The fact that you were actually involved with all of those things there from early, that's amazing. Yeah.
And, and I was also a sponge, I think, as much as I love to research, I love to also know what was going on.
Makes sense.
And I think that in my present state where I'm at now, RX Music's the same thing. Mm-hmm. I'm there, and then, I like to understand why I'm there. And I fully understand and appreciate the opportunity, that I have right now.
I think I call it being curious. As long as you never lose that curiosity, you'll continue to evolve and look around, and it's like you're forever young.
Yeah, until I left Much Music, and that curiosity almost died.
Yeah. Okay, but hold on.
Transitioning? Hold on a second. Remember, Much Master T, One VJ's Journey. Okay, go ahead.
We're not leaving there yet. So, all right. Extend the mix. Right. And then how did Rap City now get involved with all of this?
Well, Rap City was Michael Williams. Obviously, he was the host, the original host of Rap City. And amazing job. Had a producer by the name of Michelle Geister. Yeah. Was an amazing producer. Really brought so much to the table. I mean, they did ciphers. They did, all kinds of, different up and coming rappers. Cardi had been featured. Everybody, everyone who was anybody was featured on the early Rap City's show. And so then, once Michael had left, there was a point where they were, they did get another host, which was Oliver Walters.
Okay.
He was working behind the scenes at Breakfast Television.
Yeah.
He came in for a little bit of a short time because the challenge was when you were, it wasn't effective for Much Music to sit there and say, we're going to pay you just to host Rap City. you had to
do
be
multiple.
Yeah,
things.
you're a VJ.
Yeah.
You have to go interview this person, and go interview Common, and then you got to go interview Journey, or whoever, and so
to hustle.
you have to hustle. Yeah, you got to. And a lot of guys that were doing the that were on the that wanted to be VJs, they were like, nah, man, I'm just doing Rap City.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to tell you now, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so they stopped that. And then, Rap City was just kind of floating, kind of doing its own thing. And then I took over mainly as producer of Rap City. And, which was, and for me, some of the things I did was actually going to different pockets and finding out where hip hop around rap was in the various parts of the country.
Yeah.
So I did specials in Vancouver, did specials in Calgary, Winnipeg, and kind of like show people from Toronto, like, hey, this is what's happening out here.
Because we're the big city, so we figure, hey, there's nothing else going on out there.
Exactly.
Who were some of the artists that you actually discovered doing Rap City at that time there?
Just from cross country?
Yeah. Like Toronto, cross country, somebody that stands out in your mind.
You remember GCP?
Oh, that's with from Flemo. That's with JB and those guys.
I mean, they stand out to me because he was someone that kept coming to me and saying, "Look, man, I want to be." It ended up being actually on Jamix, but we ended up putting on Rap City as well. But he said, "Look, man, I want to come on the show. I want to come on the show." And I'm like, sorry, man. You got to have a video. Mm-hmm. He goes, all right. He's got that rough voice. All right. I'm like, okay. So, I don't know, a month and a half later, we got a video. I'm like, okay, play the video. Yeah, this is a decent video. Great. When are we booking you to come in? Mm-hmm. So, we book him to come in.
And GCP's up in here. GCP, let's go grab. What's up, guys? Yeah, all right, come true. Yes. Everybody file in. The crew's about. You guys can make some noise. Yeah, make some noise for Jay. What? See? We got the man there. All right. So, you guys can perform just a quick flash, but let's tell them where they can catch you guys, because there's a major show taking place.
Yeah, we're going to be, to me, this mic.
Yeah.
We're going to be at Pharaoh Munch's show. That's me, this mic, because I can't hear nothing. Yeah, man. Seeing this how I like it out here, man. All the people in Toronto, big up.
And let me tell you, back then, security was just like nervous because, it's not just, one guy, 20 guys show up. They all show up. They come in there and, they all break down their different parts of the track. Lindo, I think, was on it. A bunch of different guys. But, it really showed me his due diligence on, was to come in and say, look, I'm doing the right things. You can't shut me down. I'm presenting what I'm doing. And that just became, that became legendary because it was one of those things that, they came on there and they tore it up. Yeah. And what's sad to me was I ran into one of the guys, on the street, and he said, how many of those guys are not here? That kind of shook me up a little bit. Cause,
of course it would, because you've seen that they had the potential.
Yeah.
They did their due diligence, and they actually made it happen just for you to probably get caught up in something or whatever the case was. You know what I mean? Just that you're not here. Wow, that's big. So Rap City and the Mix were running simultaneously?
They were. They were all at the same time. But I mean, sorry. They were, they had different time slots. Okay. And Rap City was still like, I think 5 days a week or something like that. But I would produce it and, occasionally I would host. Mm-hmm. But it was more so about, just, producing the content and just supporting the music and the culture when we could.
How hard was it to actually find rap videos back then?
Canadian wise?
Canadian, yeah.
I mean, it was challenging because, we weren't getting the Video Fact grants, some of the bigger artists were. Mm-hmm. But I think what it did was, I think it opened the doors for the independents. Mm-hmm. Obviously back then, Choclair was signed to a major label. Obviously Maestro, the legend, he was out there doing his stuff. Cardi was doing it, but you see guys that were trying to do, trying to get independent videos. But it was hard. It was hard to get Canadian content. So you would definitely play, what you had. Mm-hmm. But then, you had guys that were doing, videos and independent videos, and Point Blank.
Yes,
One of the
from
very
Regent Park.
early, one of the very early ones, doing videos and stuff like that, and then we get different videos from different parts of the country.
Yeah.
So we'd definitely try to support it on that level.
And what was the rap scene like in other parts of the country at that time there?
I think it was one of those things where there's a spot everywhere you go. Every Wednesday night, it's hip hop night.
Something's going on.
Something's going on. So yeah, you'd have different things, and in terms of DJ obviously playing, you'd have different events. Talent shows seem to be big.
Yes,
back then.
yes.
There was lots of talent shows. Some talented, some not.
Yeah.
But that was a foray. That was it was no social media. Where it's just like, yo, man, I'm gonna put this on YouTube, and then I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna have
a million views.
And that just wasn't happening. You tried to get in where you could get in, and then the process was trying to get to either get an indie deal or try to get a record deal, and that's pretty well that's how you got out.
That's so crazy. Something I wanted to ask you too. What was your most embarrassing moment on live television?
Wow. People probably want to know who this is, but his name is John Hyatt. He was like a rock artist.
Okay.
And I just started as like a full-fledged, got my VJ license. And
Hold on, come again.
So my VJ license was, I was still hosting The Mix at the time.
Yeah.
But now I'd actually put in a demo tape to be a regular full-time VJ.
Okay.
And the thing is, my demo tapes, I was like, they were bad. My initial demos, because I was like, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Hey, Master T, well, hey, and I was just, it just, I was acting, trying to be, and the thing about VJs, we try to be as natural as possible. Yeah. So my wife again was just like, come on, man, this isn't you. Yeah. And my good friend Dave Murphy, who was the editor, was like, well, T, I know you, this isn't you. Yeah. So I did want to present it to Moses, and Moses was like, yeah, you got the spot. Mm-hmm. So you get into it, and it's all nervy because I was so comfortable doing extended mix or whatever. Demix, and then but it got to a point where even with Demix, I was like having heart palpitations because I was doing too much. I was cameraman, doing this and doing that. Hustling. And then so I had this interview with John Hyatt, and at the time I didn't really put that much research into him, and he just took me for circles, just took me for loops. It was just like, made me look like an asshole. And
because
which I was.
He knew you didn't know what you were speaking about.
Exactly. I didn't, because even if you don't listen to, obviously, now it's a matter of like, I listen to the music, I listen to the record, and I used to get that too coming up. Well, later was that people would look and go, well, you're the black VJ. Yeah. Like you do all the hip hop, and then, well, how did you know that about me? Well,
that's what makes they really dial into you. Yeah. When you're not supposed to know.
Exactly, and that was the thing. And I did. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. Thank you, Master T. And so, that was definitely early.
Okay. So then now, what was one of your brightest moments on television?
Brightest.
Because we're still got to get to some of your classic interviews. I got some stuff I got to ask.
Yeah, I mean, probably the brightest. Well, just some of the people that I'm a fan of. I think getting to interview them. Yeah. Lauryn Hill, Sade. Shaggy. Oh, sorry. That's my girl. Yeah. And so interviewing Shaggy. Who else? Barry White was saying Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones.
Yeah, Quincy was good. Dre. Talking to Dr. Dre. There was definitely a lot of highlights. Burning Spear. I was absolutely
got to the Burning Spear.
I got to the Burning Spear. I interviewed him about over the time. I interviewed him about 3 times. But I was like a kid I was just like, I was so nervous.
Yeah.
Burning Spear, but then also, some of my highlights too was I think jamming in Jamaica when Much Music went to Jamaica.
Okay.
And we covered like, and I gave praises to John Martin at the time, the director of music programming, and Much Music for enabling this all to happen.
Yeah.
We went there and we covered the island top to bottom. And then from there it was like St. Lucia, Trinidad. When you come into Trinidad, and it never happened.
Everywhere.
But we just, jamming in Jamaica was just, it was a real highlight.
Wow.
Yeah, it was big.
Your top 3 legendary interviews. Give me what you think are your top 3.
Wow. Let's see. Madonna.
Well, if you've been like locked in a room somewhere, I'm sure you haven't been, but if you have, Much Music has been entertaining you because we have delivered 6 hours of Madonna. We like to call it simply a Madonna-thon, baby. We even played Justify My Love. Yeah, yes, we did. And, if that wasn't enough, we thought it was important to cap off the evening by having the lady herself to hang out with us and to interact with you guys tonight, Madonna. Yes. So, how you feeling? How are you?
Theater in the round.
Yes, it certainly
Good.
is.
I'm very well.
You doing all right?
Just want to make sure what's going on back
Break it down.
Madonna. I'll break it down as to why.
Yeah.
I think it was because she came to my house.
Yeah.
She came to Much Music, my crib.
Yeah.
So she was genuinely taken aback by everything.
Okay.
Because there was a live audience. I mean, Madonna's sitting here. There's people behind her. There's no security. I mean, security's around, but there's no security. So, she was in my, and then it was a matter, I think she was so surprised by how connected we were.
Yeah.
And I wasn't because at that time, she had her first daughter.
Okay.
Just about a few weeks or about maybe a month before I had my first son.
Okay. So then everybody, that was your bonding
That was my
moment
bond.
right there.
Yeah. And so I was a parent. She was a parent. And then it was just a matter of like, I did yoga with her, and I think I took her out of her comfort zone because she's very controlled.
Yeah, for
She's
sure.
very-
This is Madonna.
Yeah, it's Madonna. And I think here is, and then, the next day when I see a clip on, I think it was Entertainment Tonight, I'm like, damn.
I made it.
I've made it.
Yeah.
Forget you, Much Music. Entertainment
I'm going to
Tonight.
E.T..
I'm going to E.T. Never happened though, but I never really wanted to go to the U.S. anyway.
Yeah.
So
That was never your thing.
that was not my thing.
Okay. So Madonna, give me 2 more.
2 more. Let me see. Let me just go through my book here. Spice Girls was legendary.
Legendary.
Spice Girls was legendary. Yeah, they were legendary. I
When
think
Mel B grabbed you.
yeah,
and,
she grabbed me and she gave me the cleavage. I think I was cleavagely assaulted myself. But
Okay, I showed you my whatever 4-pack. All right, I showed you that.
One pack.
Oh.
Six pack of beer.
There goes my big merchandising plug for you guys. All right. So anyway.
Oh. There you go. That'll sort that one out.
I feel much better now, Mel.
she was cheeky, and the thing was, we're from the same city.
Yes.
We're both from Leeds, and they were such media darlings. They knew exactly every move they made. They knew, and it wasn't about. Can you imagine if social media was around for them?
Yeah.
It would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Because they knew, but they knew what they did was because I knew when she did grabbing. I saw things in the UK.
Yeah.
I saw things in the US. Mel B.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing, and they were just, they were so smart. They all owned a piece of it. Every piece of merchandise, they got like every one of them. You're not looking at a bunch of broke sisters. Every one of them is a multi-millionaire.
They were smart from back then.
So they were smart. It's like, but yeah, they were a lot of fun. And I'd interviewed them a couple times, but that very first one was a classic. And my wife was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
And, people were like, oh, you're not going to be able to go home now. And then, and I get home and my wife goes, yeah. Okay. And I said, oh, did you see what happened to Mel B? Yeah, whatever. So yeah, check out the garbage.
But Mel B.
But what about Mel B?
Yeah.
Mel B, but Mel said, yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, so that was legendary. Okay, hold on, let me just go through.
And one
more. We need one more, right? Well, let's see here. Let's see who else. No, not that one. No, not that one. There's a couple.
Yeah.
But Janet Jackson, because I got to interview. But these are three ladies, and we're the fellas. But yeah.
Listen to me.
Janet Jackson would be a good one, a big one. Too.
Why?
Because I've interviewed her a couple times. I'd interviewed the very first time I interviewed her was in New York. And I forget which record it is. I'm bad remembering albums. Yeah. But it was the one where she was like, in the, she was almost like in that bondage-looking stuff.
Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
I don't know if it was Control. I don't think it was, but so lined up. You fly to New York. You're waiting with a bunch of other people from the press, and somebody in the press had showed us these pictures.
Yeah.
Of Janet, and they were like, these like hot, she's in like this bustier thingy and whatever, and I don't know if she had a whip or whatever, and we're like, whoa, this is pretty hot.
Yeah.
And then so I get in there now, go to interview her. Yeah. I started off, I eased into it. Said, yes, Janet. It seems like everyone has this image of you, and then we see you in these, in this kind of bondage looking thing. Where'd you see those pictures? I'm like, oh shit. Somebody told us about the pictures. The publicist told us about these pictures, and they weren't supposed to see that. No one was supposed to see those. Yeah. I was like, okay. All of a sudden, she's just a little, and I was like, I'm sitting in the chair for like half an hour. Yeah. She left, and I was like, oh shit. This is not good. And just comes back and said, oh, Janet, everything's okay. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know where that person ended up being, whether they ended up working at Kentucky Fried Chicken the afternoon. I don't know. I don't know what the end of that. But she came back and she was still so pleasant and so wonderful. And then again, she's a Jackson. She was a Jackson. So, she was good. But
legendary.
I need a guy though. Hold on. I need a one guy who I think.
While you're looking, I got to ask you about two people.
Go ahead.
Did you ever speak to Michael Jackson or Prince?
No Prince and no Michael Jackson. Would have definitely, it would have been interesting, to interview Michael.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Most definitely he's still Michael Jackson. I mean, with all what's going on now, definitely puts you in, all kinds of. I didn't interview R. Kelly though.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I interviewed him about 3 times.
Yeah.
He's a definitely interesting cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On ear and off ear.
On air and off air. Yeah. He's a definitely a different guy. Mm-hmm. Jay-Z's definitely big. Snoop Dogg I interviewed too. Love those guys too.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay. So then since we're talking about guys, let me bring this one up. When you interviewed Tupac.
Yeah.
Okay. And he went into that rant. All right. Do you realize what was happening in that moment in time? What was going in your mind? What was going through your mind at that moment right there?
All right, still hanging out at the after party, and with me from Death Row. Introduce yourself, my man.
I'm Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur.
All right. Now here's the deal. First of all, can you tell us what you actually thought about the actual rap category in terms of? I mean, I saw Coolio win, and I was like, sorry.
It's like this. For us, anything in awards, wouldn't even think about that. He got an album out there. He sold 6 million records. He sold 3 million singles. He got another album coming out, Machiavelli. Snoop got an album coming out. We just move forward. We don't even get caught up in that type of shit.
All right, man. Can we talk about Death Row East? What is exactly happening, and what can we expect from it?
You believe in God?
Certainly.
believe in Death Row East. Believe in that, for real.
My homeboy
That's it
say,
right
I'ma
there.
ride
But
with
if
you
you
then.
believe in God, believe in Death Row East. We plan to take the same strategy we use with Death Row West, which is mind over matter, taking all our weaknesses and making it into our strengths. We know that we got strength in numbers. We already run the streets out here. So now we just gonna help some of these brothers get their money on because we know they got talent. We got the ways to make them use their talent to the maximum effect. And that's what this is about. Everybody rap. We don't rap. We rap to make money. We do business.
Just how powerful he was. Just his level of confidence within who he was, within himself as a man, and he was just passionate. Like this is what he ranted about is what he believed was going to happen and what was going on, and no one was going to tell him otherwise.
Because it's almost like he dissed the entire East Coast
Oh yeah,
at
he
that
did.
time there.
Yeah.
So it was like that was the spark of the whole East and West at that moment right there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, people can say it was, but yes, it definitely was a pivotal moment in that, in that conflict. Because I mean, the media was definitely running on it anyway. They were definitely fueling it, constantly. And, we just finished doing the MTV Awards, the after parties in the park. MTV splashed all, and I was just caught up in the fact that look at all this food and stuff here in this park. MTV knows how to throw it down, and it was there with Tanya, producer Tanya Notchef, and Dave Hurlbut, a cameraman, and Tanya, who ended up working for Vice. We were all three of us there, and Tanya goes, "Hey, isn't that Suge and Tupac over there?" Yeah. And we see all these signs down, and these guys are shouting, "Death down, Death Row East." And we're like, "Yeah, okay, all right, cool." And she goes, "Let's go talk to him." Like she said, "T, go over." I'm not going over there to go talk to no Suge. Come on. This dude has to go back. Eh?
So he had his reputation at that time.
Oh man, Suge was just, he's enormous. He just looks so scowly and just, and so we kind of come up, and this was Much Music. This was classic Much Music, where we would just catch things on the fly, and we would just make it, just make it work. Yeah, that's just what it was. It was just, it was unscripted, whatever. There was no script and go interview this person. So we walk over, we're walking closer, and then we're like. We pushed Tanya in front. You go. And Tanya's like, "Hey, Mr. Suge, we're from Much Music. Can we talk to Tupac?" Yeah, sure. Yeah. And we're like, "Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. We're Much Music." So, and the crazy thing was, I get the, I have the mic and, I have no real questions or whatever. And, and I asked him some stuff about, the fact that at that time, I think it was it Hammer? Yeah, I think Hammer won Best Rap.
Yes.
And, and I said...
It wasn't Hammer. It was
Hammer? No.
Coolio.
Coolio, my bad.
Yes.
Sorry, it was Coolio. And Coolio wins for Best Rap. And I'm like, what do you guys think about this? I think, with your record, you sold like 6 million records. He goes, look, man, the man put out a legitimate record, and he's da-da-da, and whatever. So then I said, first of all, introduce yourself. And then, Suge's like, yeah, I'm Suge Knight. Yeah. And I said, yeah, please introduce yourself. And it's just like, and Tupac's looking at me like, don't you know who the fuck I am?
Yes,
and you saw that look, eh?
It's almost,
what the?
Then it's like, I'm Tupac.
Yeah, and he's just like, and the thing, I knew who he was, but, and that was a common thing I used to do anyway, just for like, whatever. Just, it was a common thing. It was, introduce yourself, say what's up. And then he was just like, yo, man. And then I said, I just said one thing. I just said, I said, what's this with the whole Death Row East? Yeah. You believe in God? And I said, yes. Whoops.
There it goes.
Then it went. Yeah. And still one of the most surreal moments for me. Even like if I would have done the show last week, that was the actual anniversary, right? September.
Okay.
September 4th, I think it was. And I see these things come up, and it's like people, it's hard for me to even kind of respond to people because, it was a powerful moment because, obviously we all know the outcome and we all know what happened, but to be around him. And the thing is, I'd seen him before. Okay. I'd seen him at the Def Jam Soul Train Music Awards party. Yeah. And he was, and I was there and I was just standing there and, Tupac was just standing like this. He had two girls on his arm, and he had this killer suit on, this old kind of like, kind of like a Gatsby looking thing. Standing here like this. He's got the two girls on his arm, and they're both taller than exactly, almost like planned. They were the same height. And they're carrying, Suge Knight's carrying Method Man out, and Method Man is wasted, like he's drunk.
Yeah.
And this isn't to slam Method Man by any stretch, because I think Method Man knows he's been drunk a few times. But they're carrying him out, and and Tupac is standing just like so put off, like this is not how you act as a top flight rapper. And he's just like and the thing was, I'm just looking at him.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop looking at the dude. Like he just emanated so much power and just confidence. And I'm just looking at this guy and just had a vibe, And it was,
So were you actually the last person to interview Tupac?
I think people have said yes, that is on television. Yeah. Is it an honor to be the last person? It's a weird position to be in. You know what I mean? It's because I remember when I had to announce on my show that he's no longer with us. So that was it was.
Did you actually get to interview Biggie?
No, I didn't interview.
You didn't get to Biggie.
But my brother was a cameraman, still a cameraman. He videotaped the legendary performance at it was on Church Street.
That was when he was here.
When he was here.
That was down. You know where it was? It was Young and...
It wasn't a concert hall.
I was there. It was Young and Wellesley or something like
that.
In an underground place
yeah.
with like checkered floors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Cardi saying he couldn't even, he said he couldn't even get it. But my brother, I remember my brother shot the footage where guys are grabbing the mic off of him.
Okay, so you see, so he's the one that shot that footage. If you look around, you'll see that in social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, my brother shot that.
That's so crazy. Your book, okay?
Right.
I see that Shaggy wrote the foreword for your book.
Yes.
How did that come around?
Once I left, when I knew I was leaving, and then we ended up getting this book deal with ECW Press. And it was tough for me, let's call it what it was.
Okay.
I was depressed.
Okay, fair enough.
I was depressed. I put 17 years of energy into this thing, and I didn't feel like there was. My wife had told me don't make it who you are, and I didn't realize how much of that persona I was.
But it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and so it was. I had to kind of find out who my identity was again, and it was challenging. I'd left. I'd go down the street, go to the store, and people were like, "Hey, Master G, what's going on?" I was like, "Nothing's really going on." Yeah. So one of the classic moments for me was actually being to Zeller's. Remember Zellers? So, never mind Six Bows. Like Six Bows, Zellers? What is Zellers? Yeah. But yeah, it was a Zellers, and they were my son. We were going to go buy toys or whatever. And a guy came up to me, goes, Master T, how are you? He goes, what are you doing now? And my son at the time, I think he was like 6 or 7, he goes, he's with me.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, that's what it's all about right there. I'm with you. Let's go get some, Transformers or something. But the book came about was, there was a story to be told, but I was still in so much agony, so much pain. And Dalton Higgins got the nod to do the book. Yeah. And you put it together. But a lot of what, came through was my wife would ask me about these things, about, because she's such a detailed-oriented person. Yeah. And she'd ask me about these things, and I just I couldn't remember. Yeah. It was just too much.
And then also, living.
Yeah. And it was just it was almost like it was almost like I put so much into it, and it was just whoa, where am I, throughout this whole thing. But then when it came out, and I was real proud of it. But reached out to said needed a forward. Reached out to Shaggy. Yeah. And Shaggy, every time he came to Toronto, he would make a point, as he said he'd make a point of coming to see Master T. And it was just this connect. And I mean, I just saw him in Edmonton. Okay. I was hosting a show. there, and he was supposed to come and do an interview, but there's still like, and I never look at it like I hang with these guys because I don't. There's a mutual level of respect. All I want to know is that, hey, the man remembers me. Respect,
Everybody's
wah.
all right.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Good. Move on. But yeah, I was very proud that he. I felt blessed that he did that for me.
Yeah. You brought up something that I really wanted to discuss with you. Why did you leave Much Music?
I mean, there's varying degrees of the story. They had come to me and said, at one point they were saying to me, well, for me, in my own mind, I can tell you, at that time I was ready to move on.
Okay.
I'd already done the Soul Train Awards. I'd already done Snow Job, and everything was just becoming a big cycle. I've already interviewed Janet Jackson 3 times. I've already interviewed Erykah Badu. I've already interviewed my girl Mary J. Blige.
What more you do?
I mean, I've done a lot of the major interviews, and so there's a point within my own self, I felt like I was going to be moving on. Yeah. But then, they'd said, look, you know what? I think it's time for you to kind of move. It wasn't like they were kicking me out.
Yeah.
But in a way, it was like, you still don't have a gig here, but we're not really kicking you out.
so you figure it out.
So I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, what about me? I know you guys are, going for a license to do Much Vibe, which is a digital channel.
Got you.
And then I said, let me take care of the digital channel. Oh, no, it's just going to be just videos played back to back and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, this is real. And, I talked to my wife about it, and I just said, I got to make that decision, I got to bounce. But if I bounce, I'm going out the way I want to go out.
For sure.
And that's when the Blocko happened.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the Blocko was, me saying goodbye to the nation. Yeah. First time my wife had ever been on camera.
Okay.
I was on the air, and she was on stage. My youngest, my oldest son was there. My mom was in the house. My brother was there, and it was tough. It was like a bittersweet moment, and sure. Obviously Lauryn Hill coming to perform under strict rules.
Okay.
Yeah, she
what
was
were
like,
the rules?
Well, she was, she first and foremost, it took me forever to kind of connect with her.
Okay.
And it took a long time through various management people to finally ended up, it's actually Katie Ann. I don't know if you know Katie Ann.
Name sounds very familiar.
Katie Ann, she'd have done a lot of, she's very socially conscious. She was doing a lot of things with another guy named Paul Green.
Yes,
so they were, and Katie Ann was trying to get Lauren to come to Toronto, but she said that Lauren only wanted to do an outdoor event.
Okay.
She didn't want to do. She I want to play outdoors.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any concerts or whatever.
Yeah.
And so Katie Ann told me, and Katie Ann's like, look, man, like, I know you're doing this Blocko, you should reach out. So I got the contact that she had, and then this contact, finally we connected, finally talked to her, and then I was in Jamaica for Reggae Sumfest.
Okay.
Reggae Sumfest didn't want her to be on stage, didn't want her to play, because at that time she was just doing her acoustic.
Yes.
And she was going through her whole thing with the label and everything else. So I'm there covering Sumfest. I get a call. We come back from, Sumfest is all night. So we come back in at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, I come back to the hotel. I get a call from work, and they're saying, Lauryn Hill's trying to get in touch with you. I'm like, Lauren? And my wife is like, ready to sleep. And I'm like, yeah, Lauryn Hill's like, whatever. Whatever. So I call Lauren. I'm on the phone with her for 2 hours. Yeah. And I'm like, she's telling me, I'm sick of it all. I've got 70 people eating off of me. I'm getting rid of them. I'm getting rid of, my catalog I'm changing in terms of these people are just, eating me alive. And she just went into this whole thing. And we were just talking.
Yeah.
And then I said,
two normal human beings.
Just human beings. And I just said, look, I fully understand where you're coming from. I'd interviewed her previously a couple of times before, and there was a comfort level. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not your sister, and I don't want to come to your house. But if she's going to see me, there was a level of comfort.
Yeah.
And same with Mary J. Blige. I had that same level of comfort with both of them.
Yeah.
And then so Lauren was just like, I'm just tired of everything, and now I don't want to do the songs, those songs that, they made me famous,
Yeah.
but I'm doing this acoustic stuff now, and that's it. And she said, would you believe some fest wouldn't let me even, they wouldn't let me hit the stage because I wasn't going to do all the hits.
Yeah.
And I think she was also dealing with the contractual stuff and blah, 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 blah. So then she finally says, I'm going to do your show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? And I said, wow. She said, but I'm doing it for you.
Yeah.
And she said, it's for both of us.
Yeah.
Because I get to perform outdoors and perform these songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. So, there's lack of communication. We didn't communicate, and it's coming up. And Much Music Knocks, telling me, look, we want to promote Lauren coming on.
Yeah.
We want to promote. And I said to Lauren, I said, can they, if they promote it, I don't come. I was like, yes. Look at that, one for T.
Yeah.
And I said, look, man, I'm sorry. I'm not lying. She can't do it.
Yeah.
And she won't do any level of promotion. Mm-hmm. And I remember, when she finally did arrive, she arrived at Pearson. And my producer at the time, Pedal Baptiste, who was just incredible. I had some great social producers that worked with me.
Yeah.
All female, which was great.
Okay. Just random.
Yeah, and they were really great to work with. But Pedal was, she was lining everything up, and we meet Lauren at the airport. She's walking out, and at that time she had Zion.
Yeah.
And she's walking with Zion, and my son and Zion were the same age, so they're kids, and they're just and she's walking out there, and Rohan was there too.
Okay.
And they're walking out, and I remember she's wearing some white skirt, and she just proud. She gets out, and she pulls Pedal over, and she said, tomorrow, I don't want to see that limo. I told you I don't want a limo. I want a Suburban. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
We get her there. She has to do a sound check. And then the sound check didn't happen till almost 11:30 at midnight. And everything was fenced off, but closed in.
Yeah.
And you could just hear her voice cutting through. Yeah. I'd never heard these songs before.
Yeah.
No one had ever heard these songs before. But then, that's what she was doing. She was doing acoustic guitar. I had to find someone she wanted a wardrobe person and, a stylist. Everything was picked out. She didn't wear it. She just wore a Bob Marley shirt, I think. Then the actual day of the event, she performed, and a lot of people, they'd never heard the songs. So people were talking and just rambling. But I listened to one of the songs, and one of the songs, she was, I'm not kidding, she almost foreshadowed 9/11.
Yeah.
There was things that were happening, she said in her lyrics, were just blew me away.
She had that insight, that third eye from back then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was definitely a third
That's
eye.
why she probably was so disgusted with the industry at that point there, because she knew she's seen them for what they were.
Exactly.
Not for who they tried to pretend to be.
And, and the whole thing about, this person wasn't paid and, this person should have got the royalties. Probably should have happened because maybe the process of how she recorded the record and somebody did this, they have to be compensated. But yeah, definitely.
Crazy. What do you want your legacy to be?
Wow. That's a good question. I think it's just, I'm pretty humble. I'm a pretty humble guy. I always have been humble. I just want people to understand that I really do and have always believed in my people. I want them to understand that, a lot of times that, what we didn't have, it was important for me to really be forthright and to bring it, to give us a somewhat of a level of a voice. And, just a very, I'm a caring individual. I care about people. Love my kids, love my wife, and my family, my mom's and bro. So
that's it right there.
I'm chilled.
T, it's so crazy. Your stories, and I know you gave me basically 0.5%. Of what really happened. You know what I mean? Because how long have you been in this industry now?
Wow. When I went on the air, in 1990. So I started out much in 84.
Yeah.
So I've been in it for a long time, and I do have to big up RX Music, and I have to big up.
You're such a good interviewer. It's like almost like you're pulling the questions out of my mind because that was going to be the next thing. What is Master T doing?
Oh, I thought we were done with the legacy. I thought we were done. I was just like, look, this is it. You know what I mean? Let me take the book.
Okay, that was a good interview.
Thank you very much. I mean, quickly, I just wanted to say about RX Music. I mean, I've been there for 5 years. I started out, and I still am a music consultant. And RX Music is they create custom music programming for some of the top names out there, Marriott, Hilton's hotels. They do Cheesecake Factory. So they create custom music programming for these locations.
Got you.
So that's essentially, and they've been around for 20 years. So when I started, 5 years ago, people were like, what the heck? Why is Master T here? And, they were trying to move, so.
Because they can't see from the front end what's going on. But this is not really a front end type of gig.
Yeah.
This is really back end.
It's back end. Mm-hmm. And so, why is this guy here? And I'm like, and for me, it was a matter, prior to that, my wife and I, we've done a lot of freelance.
Yeah.
So we're doing freelance stuff. And I, for some reason, I can be in the environment of working with people and, and just being around. I can deal with that grind. That's something that pushes me and gives me, energizes me. And then, when about 2 years in, I looked at it, I went to Gina, who's the CEO, and I said, I think I've apprenticed.
Yeah.
I've apprenticed.
What's up?
And I said, I think I still have some juice. Yeah. I think I still have a little bit of legacy left. Like, I'd like to, to bring in artists and, to RX Music and create a platform. Mm-hmm. And that's what we've been doing. I mean, I work with team, because you have to say team now. Yeah. Team, which is I have the greatest team. Mm-hmm. All work within RX Music, from audio to my production coordinator, Regan, social media. They're all there in house, and so we've had. Cardi's blessed us, Maestro's blessed us, but I'm also talking to some of the young and up-and-coming, indie artists. And I think what's happening now, we're establishing ourselves as being a real platform for record labels and the publicists to go, hey, that's the point. When they walk into our green room, it's over.
They know it's serious.
They know it's serious.
Yeah.
Things are laid out. Yeah. There's food, there's, whatever. This is all, but it's not just about that. It's just the whole feel. It's an experience that they walk in and walk out, enjoying.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When it comes to Drake, Weeknd, Justin Bieber, and all of these superstars coming out of Canada, could you have ever foreseen anything like that before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because there's still, so much talent in this city. There's a lot of talent. And I think with those guys, getting those levels of, those platforms, and there's hunger. Mm-hmm. There's hunger. I mean, I think it's changed in terms of the medium and how you get out and, you don't go to a record label and, you send them a 3-song demo. There's a whole process now of how you get your music out. But, I think it's important that we have that platform.
Yeah.
And that we can see that, we're not just, and not only that, we have some of the best producers in the world in Toronto. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's, things have changed. And I think that's what, and I think it comes from our backgrounds too. We're adaptable, and you have to change. You have to change, and I think, and that was for me, sometimes it was, I didn't realize how much I did change, but you have to have the ability to, to move forward into different, different areas.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. One name before I get you out of here that you brought up a lot was your wife.
Ah, yes.
All right. And I guess it's clear to say, we could say your wife was the voice of Roxy.
She was the voice of Roxy.
Yes. And a lot of people ask, whatever happened to Roxy?
Well, actually, I was reading one of the questions, that, they said, when you were asking for questions, and they said, did Master T hook up with Roxy? Yeah. I thought it was a great question. Yeah, Master T hooked up with Roxy. But she's foundation, I mean, we just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary.
30, eh?
And then we were together 8 years before that. So we've been together a long, long time. Yeah. But, and up and down battles. Yeah. But, it's foundation. It's when I was going through tough times, leaving much music. I'm not afraid to say I had to have someone I could cry on their shoulder to embrace me.
1,000%.
Yeah, to hold me up, because people see one thing, and I'm not saying this to win votes with people. It's not about that. It's just like you go through a lot of shit. And you need that level of support. And now she's gonna look out for her. She's coming out with the House of Roxy digital art.
Okay.
So that's gonna be a pop-up coming your way soon.
Yeah.
And there's some other things because I have a whole stack of memorabilia. We don't want to talk about that, but a whole stack of memorabilia from back in the day. So we've already exhibited that once.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be doing some more stuff.
That's amazing. And especially to know that you have a woman, your wife, in your corner like that. She seems to be the real backbone to the Master T brand and image.
Let me tell you, man, there's not. She is the brand, and now the foundation of having my kids with me is a real blessing. I mean, they make me understand what's happening in this world because I listen to them. I have to listen to them. I don't want to be, I don't want my pants to,
I don't
drop
listen
to
to
my
that type of stuff there.
No, trust me. I have Sirius Satellite, and we listen to the same 20 hip hop songs they play like they're playing new things. But it's you have to be in tune with them. You can't live their lives, but you have to understand. Some of the things, where they're coming from. It's a different time. Like, I used to tell people when I go speak, various community events and whatever. I said, when my kids were in, SK, JK, grade 1, grade 2, tree, college, I was there too. We were there as a family.
Yeah.
Because if there's something that went on, I was right down there.
For sure.
I don't care, who people thought I was. And I'm just proud of my oldest son. He's going to be graduating this year from Providence College.
Okay.
Basketball scholarship, proud of him. And the young one, Carol's coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed to have two
Family
beautiful
first,
kids.
eh?
So big love to Paula Johnson's wife.
Yeah. Wow. Big up, T.
I respect that, man.
Before I get you out of here, the floor is yours. Anything you want to say, anything you want to big up, leave some contact, anything, right now it's yours.
Well, anyone can hit me up at Master T _official. That's my IG.
Yeah.
Instagram. You can hit me up there. And you can also hit me up at, if you want to hit me up at RX Music, you can hit me up at RX Music as well. But you know what? I have to thank you, for having your platform, a platform like this. Even when I watch the setup, I'm gleaning from you, going like, there's 3 cameras here, and you've jumped on technology, and you've put your passion and love into it because, and you're not scripted. You might have your phone, you might have a few things, but you already know what you want. You're a person that listens to the person speaking, which makes which gives a level of comfort to share. So I really honor and thank you for doing what you're doing, man.
That means so much coming from somebody like you that, again, as I said, we grew up watching you. At that time, there was no internet. You had to actually run home and catch Extend the Mix or Rhapsody, or else you don't really know what's going on right then. And coming from somebody like you, that means a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're in a platform now where you're touching on people, and I'm going to talk to my man Dwight because he's my brethren. Because I know he said you're trying to get Dwight, so I'm going to forget. And Tracy Mills, I'm going to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Trust me. I talk to them. City TV Black Crew. You out there.
Since we're talking, I got to give you the truth. The whole setup, I got to big up my director of photography, Duke. Film stars, they're the ones that really came and changed the game and said, you know what? This is how it needs to look. You know what I mean? So big up Duke. Big yourself
Duke,
up. You know
big
what I mean?
up Duke.
Yeah.
Big up. Come on, man. This is camera. Look,
come on.
This ain't no handshake. Whatever we need to do. Let me see adjust the camera.
Yeah.
See, there
big
he
up
is.
Duke. Yeah, man.
See that?
Duke.
You know what I mean?
He really came and
man.
changed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's important because you're in the medium of what's here now. This is what's pumping out in terms of social media. So I'm blessed to be here.
Yeah, you don't know what this really meant. It took a while. We worked it, but as you said, I had to gain your confidence. Yeah. And then you said, okay, you know what? Come, let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much.
We also have to big up, we have to big him up because he linked us up too.
Dwayne Morgan. Come on.
He was one of the early guys that came on my show too.
Okay.
He came on with his band. He didn't know till after because Dwayne is he not the coolest brother around?
100%.
Well, I like him cool, but he's got like sweat glands like underneath. He might on pure white beaters or something. But
Something
he said,
to hold it.
just holding that in. But he said to me when he came on the show, he said it was the most nervous he ever was. And I didn't realize, but he's a foundation.
Yeah,
so.
man. Big him up.
Anyway,
big
man,
him
respect
up. Thank you so very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out.
Bless up.
This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinemusichut.com.